Professor Joe still teaching. He's out there, you know, he's still flexible, ready to go.
He knows how to fall.
Probably wasn't ready to train today, though, after that Aliman knee.
Both guys looking a little bit timid to enter that pocket, Alex. They're both a little kind of standing back just outside of that punching range.
Yeah, a bit timid.
Good combo there from James.
And then you saw James really got in his opponent's face at weigh-ins. He was flipping him off before he walked out, but he didn't really keep that energy when it came time to throw him punches. A weird fact about Brian James, he was actually scheduled to fight one of my fighters last week, but he pulled out. I was told he couldn't find the time to train, but then the next day we see he's booked to fight now. And like, no harm, no foul, we got an opponent change on my guy, obliterated his new opponent, but I never really got the information on what happened. It seems like he's ready to fight now.
Yeah. Pretty uneventful round one, but it's really tough to call. Don't know really if one caused more damage than the other, and they kind of traded control in there, Raheel.
There's definitely an energy dump after the first 4 fights that we've had that were just electric.
What, a bunch of first round super finishes? Yeah, that's hard to top.
And these guys were a little bit more poised, a little bit more calculated in their exchanges.
Yeah, and you saw there, I don't know if you noticed, Alex, but Rodrigo Barrera had an opportunity to take Brian James to the ground there. He had him off balance. He could have tripped him very easily and took him to his back and decided not to do it. So obviously you want to keep this fight on the feet. Just needs to be a little bit more active with those hands if he's going to keep it up there.
Yeah, both guys just a bit trepid. It's almost as if they don't want to commit to like big offense.
Oh, a little cup connect there. Inside leg kick catches that cup flush. Good thing was it was right on it, so hopefully nothing was out of place, nothing too damaging. Still hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you spend on a cup. We tell everybody, spend your money on a mouth guard. Make sure that you breathe right. Doesn't matter if you can buy a cup encrusted with diamonds. It's not going to help you with that shot.
No.
So it's better than not having one for sure, but that's all. That's the only thing it's better than.
I'm so worried about getting hit there that I wear a cup on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's funny.
Just to be safe.
I fought in a steel cup, and I actually go back to the more, malleable plastic one just because it forms better, it moves better.
Hill, speaking of that, I wish your cups would wear a little bit smaller one. It's a little awkward.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. I thought he was carrying a Yeti in here.
Neither guy's really planted their feet to throw some punches, and I get it. It can be intimidating, planting and being in the way of strikes, but if you want to do damage, you got to take those small risks.
Yeah, and both guys, you can tell, are fighting to not lose. They're not kind of taking the fight to their opponent, and you would think that the coaches would tell them that in between there to you got to be a little more aggressive. You got to take it to them and kind of take your fight and your game plan to your opponent. And both of them are kind of sitting back. Alex kind of just waiting for something to unfold in front of them.
Yeah, and you see James is looking for the big high kick, but there's no real setup, and high kicks are just hard to land. They really are. Whereas what's easy to land is a jab.
Yeah.
That's what can really start to set up some big shots. You see Barrera in on a nice single leg. His head's a little low, but he's definitely got James up on one leg. James did a good job balancing and whizzering. He's got a Darce set up. This is a decent attempt at a Darce. His lower half's not in the best position, but that figure 4 is set. His coaches are telling him to roll, which is true. He's got to at least get his opponent on his right shoulder.
Yeah, and you can finish it from here. The left arm is not in the ideal position for it, but you can finish it here. But you have to be really proficient at Darce chokes. Those elbows have to squeeze together. You have to really know the Darce submission and kind of body mechanics to be able to make this work. But this is better. Yeah,
he's in guard. This is a Tony Ferguson style finish. If James can get his left leg around, which he's looking for now, he could finish this. This is deep.
Can he squeeze enough to finish this? Still some punches coming from the top from Barrera.
It looks like his grip's about to slip.
Man.
I mean, this is right on that line. Barrera's attacking the elbow, the connection point. He did a good job there. And, man, James did invest a lot of energy in that. You could see in the grimace in his face. He really put a squeeze on it.
There's only so much you can squeeze for so long before your arms give out.
Yeah, and any front choke, you know, the lock on the neck, naturally very important, but the lower body positioning is equally as important because that's what allows you to drive your hips into the actual choke.
Yeah, and the way you squeeze, too, in the Darce choke, you got to squeeze your elbows toward each other. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of squeezing them in the opposite direction, one up, one down, and so it leaves a little space in there whenever you do that.
10
so you
seconds
squeeze those
left.
elbows together. That's a little technical error that he made that he could have finished this fight, Alex.
I mean, this
Can
is
Barrera get this?
I mean, there's 10 seconds. If he had just any more time, I think we would have seen a finish.
Man. So we go from one choke attempt to another.
Wow. How do you score that one?
Man, I don't even know.
Had a Darce choke escape right into a rear naked, or not even that, a bulldog choke, kind of. But it was very, very close.
So we go to our final round in our 5th amateur fight, final amateur fight of the night. We do have 4 pro fights scheduled for you. Let's take a look at highlights for round 2.
Yeah, you see that Darce choke, you know, if they would do the whole fight the way they did the last 45 seconds or so of that second round, then it'd be a much more entertaining fight. And I think both guys you see now have an opportunity to win on the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Really close choke there. If he'd have had that hook, Alex, this fight would be over. He might have made it to the bell, but I don't think he would have got up.
All right, doors closed. We're good. Final round. A little respect between fighters and
Mouthpiece.
mouthpiece. Forgot. Yeah. It's pretty important.
I like Barrera. He pointed at him. He was like, "Wait, take time out."
Barrera forgot his own mouthpiece. I thought he was pointing at James. I was like, what happened? But he forgot his own mouthpiece.
Yeah, I thought he was pointing. He has a knife or something. That's what it looked like.
All good. 3rd round.
Yeah, nice little body kick there. Didn't land flush, but, you know, nice body kick there from Barrera.
And James, I mean, he kind of sat down on that left hand, but again, there's just like a lack of commitment kind of from both guys. And like as amateurs, this is kind of where you figure it out, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, technically, they're not bad, but they just, you know, we talked about this last week, Alex. We're watching fighters, and some of them just lack the killer instinct. They just lack it. They see that they look for openings, they get it. They either don't take advantage of it, or when they do get it, they don't take advantage of the fact that they just got it. And it's really difficult for them to close that distance on just the threat of being countered. And so you see that a lot in here, especially with the amateurs, and that's why it's such a good learning experience. Yeah,
and both guys, like you said, learning experience. This is their debuts. I don't think they really know their style yet. And, you know, it's weird because you got to figure out in the cage. Like, you can have a lot of success in the gym, but I'll tell you, when the cage door locks, it's different. The intensity's different. The pacing's different. The fatigue is very different. And, you know, neither guy's really thrown much of a jab, you know, with no real intention to land. Decent left hand there from James.
Yeah, and it hardly ever goes how you imagine it. You know, you're imagining, I'm going to, you know, throw a wheel kick and it's going to land flush on his chin. He's going to fly out of the cage. But
then you miss by 6 feet when you really try it.
Yeah. Then you miss by 6 feet and you're like, now what? I didn't think about anything else. I was really counting on that to work.
That wheel kick. Again, a bit of timidity from both guys.
Absolutely. You just saw there was that opening, and even in the opening, James was still a little bit more calculated.
Yeah, you saw it looked like he was kind of bracing for a counter while he was throwing the punch, kept his elbows down tight, kind of by his body, and kind of squatted down to throw that punch, but the punch was straight in front of him. He was really square to his opponent. And, you know, you have to keep your posture, your your stance, all those things are very, very important to maintain while you're throwing punches, because they become way less effective whenever you're throwing them from a different stance.
Nearing the end of round 3 here, 10 seconds left.
An illegal, accidental low blow.
Is that some blood coming down from the top of Barrera's head?
You know, he was bleeding in between the last round too. I'm not too sure what that's from. I mean, there's like 5 seconds left. He should just kind of suck it up and finish this fight out.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there was an exchange for the rest of the fight.
And so you literally got to fly at your opponent and throw something big. You got one.
A double-footed drop kick would be awesome here.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
A 3-second flurry.
Yeah.
Minus the flurry.
Yeah.
There's your 3 seconds.
Just 3 seconds. All right, so we will go to the judges' scorecards. Just laying out the rest of the schedule for everyone before we get to our highlights. We got 4 more fights on this prelims broadcast before we head to UFC Fight Pass 4. Fury FC 71, Quintana Richardson at 4:30 p.m. Let's look at our round 3 highlights. Both fighters just trying to find an opening, trying to land something, work on just those basic technical combos.
Yeah, you see the timidity there, Raheel. He kind of threw his knee up and was afraid of a counter and kind of held back there. But again, it was open. If he flies into that pocket with that knee with some authority, he lands that to the body, and who knows what happens. Both fighters kind of guilty of the same thing, but we don't knock them too much because they're making their amateur debut. This is what this is for. And so, you know, wins and losses don't mean a lot when you're not getting paid. So this is what they should just use this as a learning experience, and they have to make sure they apply it to the next time they're in the cage.
Pretty cool to see Brian James going around shaking everybody's hand, not just
That's cool. That's nice.
Yeah, everyone
officials.
from the commission to our cage crew, everyone.
I think James maybe takes that decision out of aggression.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Wayne is inside, so let's see how the judges scored this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of combat, we go through the judges' scorecards for a decision brought to you by Kimura Tattoo Company. Judge Ryan Thompson scores the fight 29-28, James. Judge Patrick Petlon scores the fight 29-28, Barrera. And Judge Chance Williams scores the fight 30-27, declaring your winner by split decision, Brian James.
All right, congratulations to Brian James getting his debut win. A lot of things to take back to the gym for both fighters to improve on. Still very young again. You want to be undefeated, but you want to get that experience. We'll harp on that every time the amateurs fight. That is huge. And now you can really kind of start game planning. And as you mentioned, Alex, figure out, like, who are you as a fighter?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, he can go back and just, you know, maybe just figure out the style. That's what's most important.
All right, let's go to Wayne for our first pro fight of the prelims.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Charles Jones.
Charles Jones fought once inside the Fury amateur cage, but making his Fury debut as a professional, has a record of 1-2 already, has been fighting. Fought once in 2022, Michael, lost to Adrian Cortez via choke in round 1. And he's a guy who has, you know, had a lot of hype around him and just now starting to get a little bit more experience in fights under his belt.
Yeah, we talked to his coaches, and his coaches were like, you know, when they're in the gym before he fought at all, we thought this guy was going to be a world beater. You know, we thought he's really, really tough in the gym, and you know, some of it plagues fighters sometimes. And I'm not saying it's happening with Charles Jones, but it does plague fighters sometimes where they're great in the gym. They're one of the better guys in the gym. They really show off in the gym. They really, really do well. But then it comes to competition and they get flat. It's like not going the way they think it should or whatever, and it just affects their mind. And so hopefully that's not the case with Charles Jones. lost his last fight by guillotine choke, but I expect that he comes in here expecting to win this fight against Jordan Pluten.
Let's meet his opponent. Here's Wayne.
Please welcome to the red corner, Jordan Pluten.
Jordan Pluten, 3-4 record, 9th time inside the Fury FC cage, combining all the experience he has professionally and amateur-wise. Fighting right here out of Houston, Texas, the Shadow. He's a fighter that we always talk about, like, he just has all the physical attributes. He has, of course, a great camp, and he just looks the part, and it's just when he puts it all together, it is menacing. That's the only word to describe his style.
Yeah, and like his record is now starting to come together. You know, if he were to catch a win tonight, it's even 4-4. It's a lot of wins. It's a lot of experience. I mean, you know, looking at his record, and I've said this for every one of his fights, it's no easy feat. And he used to be like a pretty good one-round fighter. His first round was always super dangerous, super explosive. And if he didn't get it done, he would sometimes lose, but that's no longer the case.
You see, yeah, look at the Fury haircut. Last, I think 3 fights ago, Michael, he had UFC.
Yeah.
And now he's repping the brand. I like it. Fury.
Too. Yep. Yeah, that's right. He's back down to earth a little bit. And, you know, 3-4, like you said, Alex, 3-4 doesn't mean much to me anymore after watching him in his last few fights. Jordan Pluten is the real deal. He's a spectacular athlete. And as you can see there from his stats are basically almost the same. But Jordan Pluten is an unbelievable athlete.
And he's big, man. Yeah. He is big for the weight class, for these featherweights.
He packs on weight right after. It looks good. Our tail of the tape brought to you by Renfo, and as Michael mentioned, pretty much even 2 inches one way for Jones. Let's go inside for our official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by the Fury Unleashed podcast, available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC featherweight division. Introducing your first competitor, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in at 146 pounds. Fighting out of Laredo, Texas, he holds a professional record of 1 win, 1 loss. This is Charles Jones. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, he weighed in officially at 145.6 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas. Today, he seeks professional victory number 4. This is the Shadow, Jordan Pluten. Your referee in charge, Joe Solis.
One attribute Pluten has is activity, one of the most important factors in cage fighting. He's been very active. He's very comfortable here in this Fury cage. Expect an explosive first round.
You see it on your screen. Blue gloves for Jones, red for Pluten.
Yeah, and you wonder sometimes, Alex, if, you know, early in his career, Pluten believed in himself as much as he has lately. You know, because we've said it the whole time, even when he was 1-4 or 1-3, whatever his record was, you know, he was like, this dude is a spectacular athlete. He's really good. Technically, he's good. Starts out, got a good motor. I mean, he had everything. Yep. And so now, I think he's got the confidence that goes with it, and he's about to take the back here.
Oh, and this choke's
very tight choke.
The angle's a little off, but the choking arm is under. Pluten needs to get that right hook in. He's got it almost.
See if Pluten can complete this choke, just taking his time.
He's got half a back take and half a choke.
He's good with this over-under here. Taking that right leg over the hip, not having that hook is just as effective in my opinion. Now he's got the body lock.
Now Jones is in some trouble.
A lot of time left. We're only a minute and change into the fight, and Jordan Pluten in a dominant position right now, working anything he wants.
Man, they're dry, they're fresh.
Big shots.
I think we're going to get a finish here. Jones got to get busy moving. He can't just cover. I mean, he's got a fresh, dry, strong Pluten on his back, just driving those hips into the lower back, looking for big shots. He's keeping the wrist ride. I mean, if I'm Pluten's coach, I'm telling him to finish. Like, commit. Give me 10 good shots.
Man, that is it.
That's it.
That is it. Joe Solis has seen enough, and Jordan Pluten, Mr. 2022, has worked his way up to a 4-1 record this year and is now 4-4 overall. What an active and incredible year so far for Jordan Pluten, a totally different fighter as we've talked about thus far.
Yeah, and that was just technical but physical domination. He got him down early, he got on his back, and he was just relentless. I mean, his opponent really wasn't too worse for wear, but he just wasn't going anywhere. I mean, you got the hips driving into your lower back. You're getting hit with those hammer fists. Your wrist is trapped. I mean, that's like a merciful stoppage right there.
Yeah, throw the records out the window, Alex. Who wants to fight Jordan Pluten right now? I bet there's not many featherweights that are willing to take that right now.
No.
Man, we'll have to talk to him afterwards. Like, what changed? Because 2022 has just been the year of Pluten.
I'll tell you, man, a lot of it's activity. He's just comfortable in an uncomfortable environment inside a locked Fury cage. Congratulations to Pluten. I mean, that's another big win for him.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him on that December card, too.
Yeah.
Let's go inside to Wayne to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Joe Solis calls for a stop to the action. 1 minute, 39 seconds into the very first round. Declaring your winner by TKO, the Shadow, Jordan Pluten.
Professor Joe Solis on his A-game defensively, dodging a backfoot.
Yep. He's had an active night already.
Oh, yeah. No swing bouts tonight, hopefully. We got 3 pro fights left. We got just under an hour to do it. I think we'll be able to get him in.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can sneak it in. The next guy coming out, or the next fight, there's a fighter that, man, we are excited to watch. Zachary Reese is going to, Braxton Everett is next, and then Zachary Reese is coming up in 2 fights. But Braxton Everett, who just fought last week, he's like, let's just do this. Cleared by the commission, 7 days, so here's Braxton.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Braxton Everett.
Yeah, and one thing, I comb through amateur and professional MMA records on Tapology more than you guys would believe. I mean, it's like the main website on my phone, on my PC. And then Braxton Everett has got such an interesting tale. Michael, I'm sure you know, what was his amateur record?
14-0.
14 amateur fights is a lot. 14 amateur wins is insane. Like, that's a crazy record. Goes pro, there's a bit of some time in between. And now he sits at 1-4. And, you know, he's taken some tough fights. Like, as you were saying, some fights, you know, he maybe shouldn't have taken just from a difficulty standpoint. But to have the most success as an amateur and to now have a tricky record as a pro, I mean, that just shows a big swing in his career.
Fought Kedrick Macklin last week, lost that fight, has fought Isaac Moreno, had Isaac stunned in the first round.
Yeah.
And that gap, you know, he's talked about it, went to prison, battled drug addiction, doubted himself, go through those things. Of course, he might do that. And now is kind of finding that groove again, recommitting himself, finding that balance, which is nice to see from a human level, and also for him as a fighter. And now he just wants to be active. That's the big thing.
Yeah, good for him.
All right, let's go to Wayne to meet his opponent.
Please welcome to the red corner, Luke Crawford.
Luke Crawford, second time inside the Fury FC cage as a pro, has an 0-1 record here, 1-1 overall. Took a break, like most fighters did, from 2020 to 2022, and then did return in February where he beat Carlton Terrence, got his first professional win, and now training out of War.
Yeah, I like Luke. He's a good guy. Training with him's fine, but man, he's like really strong and bony. He hurts. It hurts to hit him. It hurts to get hit by him. He's got good boxing, good movement, but he's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he's got an underrated closed guard game. You got to watch your neck, watch your elbows if you're in his closed guard.
Had some D1 offers to play basketball.
Oh, wow.
That's, just shows you the kind of athlete he is. We look at our tail of the tape, brought to you by Space City Collective, which congratulations to them. They just opened up their new, bigger location today. So shout out to Chino and the gang out there. You see the 34-year-old Luke Crawford, height advantage for him and reach advantage as well. Both fighters did make weight for this lightweight bout. Let's go inside to Wayne for our official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, brought to you by Renfo, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC lightweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, he weighed in at 155.4 pounds. Fighting out of Ulysses, Kansas. Today, he seeks his second victory as a pro. This is Braxton Everett. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in officially at 154.2 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, he holds a professional record of 1 win, 1 loss. This is Lionheart Luke Crawford. Your referee in charge of the action, Jeff Rexroad.
All right, blue gloves for Everett, red for Crawford. We forgot to mention this, Michael. Also, Luke Crawford, HPD officer.
Yeah, I hope he took the night off last night because he would have been out late after all the celebrations that were happening in downtown Houston after the Astros win.
And Luke got a game face on. Oh, man, the guy shot and hit Luke in the hip. I told you, he was boning.
Yeah.
It hurts to hit him. It literally rocked him. Man, Braxton shot and his head hit Luke's hip. Luke's on his back. He's got an arm trapped. I mean,
I've never seen that. You were right, man. That the bone.
I feel Braxton's pain. I mean, Luke's got this fully figure forward. I think we're going to see a tap in just a moment. It's on the chin.
That is it. That is it. Man, Luke Crawford. Credit that to the bone, the hip bone. I want to see that replay because
Braxton said, "What happened?" He said,
I thought it was a knee connect or something.
I mean, I will see it on the replay. I'm pretty sure he shot a hard double in his head. Look at him; he's rubbing his head. Hit Luke in his hip.
Yeah, you saw him ask. I think he thought that Luke Crawford was wearing a chastity belt or something because he hit his head and he was like, dude, I think he complained to the referee. I think he's got something in his shorts.
Yeah, it's his hip bone.
Yeah, yeah. And I've heard that Craig Jones is the same way. You know, Craig Jones, high-level grappler, that he's so bony and just so hard to. But, I wish it would have showed the takedown. But this looks very similar, Raheel, to his fight last week against Cedric Macklin. Almost the exact same amount of time, almost the exact same sequence, and lost the exact same way.
I mean, if we can't get the guys in the truck to maybe show the shot where Braxton really shoots and Luke kind of hip checks him and rocks him.
Man, we'll see if we can get that in a second, but the fighters are inside, standing by. You see the tap there. That was it. We'll make this official. Here is Wayne Leggett.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes 42 seconds into the very first round. Declaring your winner by tap out due to a rear naked choke, Lionheart Luke Crawford.
Props to Braxton for taking this fight on such short notice. I know it's not the result he wanted. It was a weird outcome, but man, props to him for stepping in the cage again, fighting a tough guy in Luke Crawford.
Yeah, he needs to go backstage right now and talk to Jordan Pluton.
Yeah.
That really tough fight again for Braxton Everett. I would like to see that replay still of that shot if we can. Braxton Everett goes in for a shot right off the bat, wanted to get this fight to the ground. Probably ill-advised to go to the ground with Luke Crawford, but that's where he wanted to fight. And got a rude awakening there from that hip check.
I trained with a big judo brown belt once, and I shot a double on him, and he hip checked me, and it rocked me. I mean, that happens.
Fury Unleashed podcast. Hey, if you love what you see inside the Fury cage, the guys break it all down and mix in all sorts of non-MMA related topics as well. Hosted by Wayne Leggett, Rich Burmaster, Eric Garcia, and our favorite guy of them all, Diego Reyes, the superstar. Check it out wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. It's the Fury Unleashed podcast.
Who sponsors that, Raheel?
Fury. They get sponsored by every Howlerhead. Yeah. They
I was going to say, there's a lot of Howlerhead in there, if I remember
very
right.
Embedded sponsorship.
Yeah.
Take a look at our crowd as well. Such a good crowd thus far here at Fury FC 71. We have one more pro show here at Fury for you. Fury FC 72 is going to be right back here in the City of Champions, Houston, Texas, December 18th. And then our first show of the year, we're heading to San Antonio, January 29th. And then back here in Houston for our second show, February 5th. February 5th for Fury FC 73. Breaking news, Dallas, we're going to be there mid-February as well. February 19th. guys want to call my wife? That's our wedding anniversary. I might have to ring her.
Yeah.
I like those Dallas fight cards, man. I love the city of Dallas. For me, it's such a martial arts city. I only do martial arts in Dallas, and I get to call fights that I love. I love going to Gillies. I hope that's where it's at again.
Yep, hopefully it's at Gillies. We've heard kind of rumors floating around. We're going to be back in New Orleans.
Yes.
You got to be there for that one, Alex. If your fight schedule works out.
Hey,
The New Orleans crowd, remember, Michael, that was so much fun. I mean, it was just like mayhem because Louisiana loves their athletes, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of course, Louisiana guys on it.
Yeah, and the night before and the night after the fight is also an event in itself.
Yes.
And so dinner the night before is always huge. And, you know, last New Orleans show, I think I gained about 7 or 8 pounds just on that weekend. It was ridiculous.
Where do we go? Turkey and the Wolf, the sandwiches that we had beforehand.
Yeah.
One of the best sandwiches in the nation. So many good spots there. By the way, just go, follow us on social media. Just look up Fury Fighting, and you'll find everything on social media as well with upcoming schedules. We're just waiting. Yeah. All right. We got our fighters ready, so let's finish out these prelims. Let's go to Wayne.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Shahryar Zalfagari.
Shahryar Zalfagari. Shahryar Zalfagari. Shahryar. Oh, I messed up.
So Zalfagari, known for his kickboxing prowess. This is his debut here for Fury, and from Chicago, and he's fighting a real Texan in Zach Reese. This is gonna be a fun fight. I'm glad I was able to stay together. They had to go up a weight class. But this guy's game. I mean, this guy's got a lot of kickboxing experience. He's got a lot of self-belief in himself. This is going to be a fun fight. We don't get to see 205ers all that often. This is a big one.
Yeah, Alex, we heard you might have a lot to say about Zach Reese, his opponent, so we'll get to him here in a second. But Zalfagari, with the kickboxing background, a lot of kickboxing matches, a lot of kickboxing experience and competition-wise, and look for some of those big spinning kicks. He loves those big wheel kicks.
Been described as a striking monster. By the way, 205. It was originally scheduled for 185, and then both fighters agreed to just move up because of weight issues. And as you mentioned, it was a hectic day yesterday with busting weights. But this fight is good, so it's nice to see that.
Well, Alex, if you put him in front of me and said, "What do you think this guy does for a living?" Olympic wrestler would have been my first. He has the biggest tree trunk legs I've ever seen on a human being his size.
Yeah. He uses him to kick.
Highly anticipated debut here. Fury FC. Let's go inside to Wayne to meet his opponent.
Please welcome to the red corner, Zachary Reese.
Zachary Reese, first time fighting inside the Fury FC cage, brings a 2-0 record already as a professional. Has won amateur titles with other promotions, so has a great background, is very comfortable, and somebody you're familiar with.
Yeah, he's a big fella. He's a big guy. I think Zach's maybe one of my favorite training partners because I can try to hit him as hard as I can, and if I land, he's not really all that phased, so I don't really have to, take care of him. Not that I would need to anyway, but he's a fun guy to work with. He's got a very elusive, technical style of striking, and he's a tremendous grappler. He's got the long limbs, he's got a good guard, he's got the takedowns. This is my first time watching Zach fight live. I was really looking forward to it. And I know he struggles to get opponents, and the opponents that agree to fight him end up falling off. That's why I got a lot of respect for Zalfagari for taking this fight. And here we are, about to be in this Fury cage.
Yeah, and Zach hasn't had a lot of fights, Alex, but the last time Zach lost an MMA fight was his amateur debut against Kevin Holland. That was his last fight that he lost in 2012. So this dude's been around forever.
Our Tail of the Tape brought to you by Sheath Underwear. You see that height advantage for Zachary Reese, and also the reach advantage as well for the 28-year-old in this light heavyweight bout. Let's go inside to Wayne for our official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by HKA USA is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 6 feet tall, he weighed in officially at 194.2 pounds. Fighting out of Chicago, Illinois. Today, he makes his professional debut. This is Shahryar Zulfiqari. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 6 feet 3 inches tall, he weighed in at 198.6 pounds. Fighting out of Shiner, Texas, he's undefeated as a pro with a record of 2 wins, no losses. This is Zachary Reese. Your referee in charge of the action, Professor Joe Solis.
Man, 2 different body styles, body pick for Zulfiqari. You see Reese with just 6'3" frame. This is going to be a fun matchup.
Oh, big shot already from Zach Reese. And Alex, interesting note about Zach Reese. All of his fights, amateur and pro, are first-round finishes except for 1. And it was the 2nd round.
Man, notice the poise and patience. I mean, he really landed a good, strong punch. Big uppercut from Zach.
Zulfiqari just eats an uppercut there as he makes his way towards Reese.
Good knee there from Zach. To the left elbow, and he lands it. He's going to go over the top of the right elbow. Uppercut.
Ooh.
And how much more damage can Zulfiqari take with Professor Joe? So he's going to step in. That is it.
That fight's over.
That is it. The Savage, Zachary Reese, with the big-time finish here at Fury FC 71.
Man, congrats to Reese. He was just precise with his elbows and knees and strikes. And for Zulfiqari, a lot of times in kickboxing, they usually spend the first round to find the range and get their reads. But man, Zach started strong and landed a big right hand. And man, that right hand just really set the pace. You see Zulfiqari, props to that man for fighting this monster of a man in Zach Reese. But it was these uppercuts that I think they damaged the nose of Zulfiqari there. And huge shots. Joe Solis gave Zulfiqari every chance to recover, and Zach was just on him. Anyone watching at home, that's a killer instinct with some real thought and fight IQ behind it. Zach didn't empty the gas tank. He wasn't just throwing the throw. He was laser accurate with every one of those strikes. Huge finish to put Zach Reese now at 3-0 as a pro.
Zach Reese is a problem for that middleweight division or the light heavyweight division. That dude can fight. He looks big for a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is he walking around at when he's training?
You know what? I don't want to give it an accurate number. You know, he's made middleweight a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I know he went through some opponent changes. There was a lot of logistic change-up for this fight camp. And it was funny, I actually didn't know his game plan. You know, Zulfiqari being a striker, I thought Zach was going to wrestle, but that was not the case.
Man, that was a fun fight. Good to see Zach Reese get his first win here at Fury FC.
Wow.
3-0 now as a professional, as you mentioned, Michael. All right, let's go to Wayne to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Joe Solis calls for a stop to the action 50 seconds into the very first round, declaring your winner by TKO, Zachary Reese.
Well, there is a 185er on the roster, Joe Bauman. He was asking for a challenge. Zach Reese, challenge accepted for a lot of guys, you know.
I was going to say, Joe Bauman's there. By the way, the medics are still working on Zulfiqari right now, so it gives us a second to talk about what is next for Zachary Reese. Isaac Moreno, 185er as well, can work up there.
I think Moreno went down to welterweight.
Welterweight, okay, he's at 170 now, so he's not one of the guys to watch out for, but man, Bauman could be a fun matchup.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, and I know Bauman's got 1 or 2 fights left on his contract with Fury, and I would love to see that matchup.
All right, our final fight for the prelims. Here's our first fighter. We'll take it.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Gabriel Macario.
Gabriel Macario, a name that we're all familiar with. 7th time inside the Fury FC cage.
Yeah, this is an awesome matchup. So I got a lot of respect for Macario and Frank Mino. Both these guys came into Fury with good records, and they fought the who's who of the guys on the roster. They've not had a lot of wins, but they got a lot of great fights and experience. And, you know, both these guys, they've put their time in. They've literally, like put their sweat and blood in this cage. And this is just a fun fight. I mean, both guys scrappers, both guys strikers, and both guys have had, you know, the most thorough Fury fighting experience that a local fighter could have.
Yeah, and Macario's on a 4-fight losing streak, but you look at the opponents he's had, like you said, Michael Murphy, Shaquem Richardson, Edwin Chavez, Cameron Graves. These are not fighters that are pushovers. These are all guys that are right on the edge of being signed or right on the edge of a title shot. So, and he was very, very close in every one of those fights.
Yeah.
A couple of those names, we thought he won the fight. We thought it could have went either way. So he's very, very close to being right at the top of that division.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. Today, here he is. Here's the introduction.
Please welcome to the red corner, Frank Mino.
Frank Mino, man.
I mean, same scenario as Macario. He comes in 3-0. You know, he fights Josh Alton. He just fights all these young up-and-coming killers. And I've actually trained a little bit with Frank since. And man, he's solid. He's got some good offensive striking behind him. He's very athletic and well built for the weight class. I was really looking forward to this fight.
Everyone he's fought has a record of 3-1 or better. So making your debut inside a new promotion, he just took on. You had the Texas kid, Aswell, Estevez, Rosen, Altum, as you mentioned. I mean, he just took on some dudes. And he has been finished 3 out of those 4 fights. So, you know, that's what it is. But, man, the experience that he's gotten against these guys, let's see if he can put it together against, one of the toughest dudes in Fury FC and Gabriel.
Yeah, we saw Gabriel fight for that BMF belt. You know, Gabriel, a veteran of Tough Brazil, season 4. And so he's been around the fight game for a long time and is really well versed in the cage.
Let's go to Wayne for our official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by Space City Collective is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury FC at a catch weight of 150 pounds. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, he weighed in officially at 148.2 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, by way of Sao Paulo, Brazil, today he seeks his 7th victory as a pro. This is Gabriel Macario. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, he weighed in at 150.2 pounds. Fighting out of Guam, today he seeks his 4th professional victory. This is Frank Bulldozer Mino. Your referee in charge of the action, Jeff Rexroad.
Quick look at the tail of the tape brought to you by Bump Box. You see the height advantage and reach advantage for Gabriel Macario, even on the age. Both guys made weight because it's a catch weight battle. Agreed to make it catch weight, which is nice.
I don't know if these guys are going to trade hands and get an early finish, or it's going to be a 3-round dogfight. Oh.
Yeah, and Macario, you know, he's known as a striker, and he fancies himself a striker, but he also says that he's not afraid to take this to the ground. He's confident in his jiu-jitsu, he's confident in his wrestling, so not afraid to take this to the ground. We haven't seen a lot of success there in the past, but it seems like the guys that he's taken to the ground in the past have been aces on the ground, so it's really tough to difficult engage that.
Yeah, I know Frank has caught in a couple rear naked chokes himself, and I know both these guys prefer to strike, so I figured we'd see a little kickboxing battle here.
Frank looks a little bit more chiseled as well, muscular. Looks a little different.
Big power shots there from Mino. It's a nice little jab to the lead hook to the straight right there from Macario. Came up short, but you can see he's measured. So Macario a little more elusive, and Mino's more powerful. Every strike he's throwing can do some damage.
Yeah, and we've seen where that tends to wear him out just a little bit as the fight goes on. You know, he does carry a lot of muscle. He's a little shorter and stockier fighter. Macario, you know, with some boxing experience, he's a little bit more labor efficient, in my opinion. So we'll just see how it goes kind of as the round wears on. Both guys just feeling it out right now.
Been 2 strong leg kicks from Macario so far. And a good one returned there by Frank.
Third one on that lead leg.
It's usually kick number 3 that you start to feel. Anything beyond these are going to start to really get a reaction and limit mobility.
Landed number 4 as well. Nice combo there. Just misses the counter punching from Frank, does Gabriel. That lead leg looks ripe for the taking again.
I mean, it's been 4 big low kicks. Nice, good right hand there from Frank.
Yeah, nice left hook that just missed from Macario.
Oh, that's where if you get caught slipping too low, you can turn a low kick into a high kick on accident real quick.
I wonder if Frank saw something on tape. He has been working that level change a lot in this round.
Yeah, very good counter striking from Macario also. Nice leg kick there. Almost knocked the base out from underneath Frank Mino.
5-6.
Starting to drop that hand now to block those kicks.
Oh,
a big right hand. One thing Mino's coaches were calling was for Frank to come forward with the 1-2, and that's a great way to counter those low kicks.
Macario with the open hand slaps there to Frank Mino.
Man, you see that redness on that hamstring.
And it just doesn't go away. I mean, that's rough. Thankfully, I've never experienced that. I've always checked kicks.
Frank decided to check him with his hamstring today.
And if you're not going to check him, you got to plant into a straight right and make him not want to throw it out of fear of a counter punch.
Macario in good position here. On the back. Frank Mino has got to not, he can't just cover up. He's got to get up. He's got to stand up. He's got to get tall. There you go. He squares back up to Macario.
That's a good point by you, Michael, because we've seen both Jeff and Professor Joe Solis, who are inside the cages tonight. Covering up isn't going to be enough.
No.
Like, that's it. They're not afraid to call the fight.
No, if you're just covering up, not improving your position, just covering with your hands, even if they're punching your hands, they're still going to stop it. They're only going to let you take so many of those. Not the case here, but we saw it a couple times earlier. And, Macario just needs to make some space here. He was winning those striking battles. He was, kind of beating up those legs, starting to land some punches. And this is kind of Frank Mino's game, especially being the bigger fighter here.
That was a good knee there from Mino. Look at Macario. You know he's going to go back to that low kick. See, that's good. I think Mino needs to stay low and really come forward and plant on the right hand, the straight right. Because if Macario, plants his feet for a kick, Mino's right hand could counter that.
You see Mino starting to get frustrated taking those leg kicks.
Oh, man. And then pressuring forward also, you're not supposed to kick whilst moving backwards. So I know you put, there's a nice
Here we go.
exchange. This is what we were hoping to see. These guys have not disappointed.
That will be the finish of round 1, the story of round 1. Big kicks from Macario.
Those low kicks, man.
Connected on 7 of them unofficially.
Yeah, and they were all of them 100% power. One thing, man, he's a dog. He's not looking for a way out. He walked back to his stool. These guys are tough and gritty as they come. Both of them.
Yeah, Gabe Macario looking sharp here in the first round. Got to give that round to him pretty easily.
Yeah, those low kicks were strong.
Yeah, the low kicks caused the most damage. Was really, really close to Mino just covering up and finishing the fight. He was probably a few punches away, but he had Mino on the ropes there for sure for a while.
Here's some of these highlights. Look at the low kick action here from Macario.
You see Macario with that right hand in perfect position all the time. It's always in position to fire, and it's always in position to block. Mino trying to throw there to a little body shot. Nice leg kicks there constantly from Macario in the first round.
Like you were saying, Macario fought Cameron Graves for the belt, so I did a lot of tape study, and I've never noticed Macario's low kick so strong. He's got a good lead hook and a good straight right. Looks like he's added some good tools that he's using very effectively in this fight. Yeah, one thing Mino can't do is fight at this kicking range, and you hear his coaches saying to get in his face, pressure forward despite the punches, which is great advice because it avoids that. It's very hard to be powerful on low kicks if you're moving backwards. So as challenging as it may be, I think Mino does need to come forward and do that right there.
Showing that right off a little bit is Frank.
Macario putting a nice game plan here together for this fight. Ooh, you see those big shots land.
Stunned him.
Right there, Macario with the knees. Is this going to be over? He's got it. Gabe Macario finishes this fight.
That was slick.
Wow.
Those leg kicks were too much. The hands dropped, and that was it.
Lightning quick. That was the 3-2. See, that's the combo I've seen Macario throw a lot. You know, it was cool. He got a new tool to implement his strengths. Congratulations to Macario.
Yeah, Macario used those leg kicks. It kind of spun Frank Mino, and as soon as he spun, he started landing those headshots. Frank tried to retreat. Nothing doing. Macario was all over him.
Lightning quick.
Look at the finish here in round 2.
Fast hands, it's all over him. It's accurate too.
Woo! Man, those are coming in nice.
Man.
Nice cross-hook combo.
Alex, it's really hard to beat this Gabe Macario. This Gabe Macario with this fight plan, with this game plan, with that technical striking, he's really, really going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Something is going on. There's something in the air. I don't know if everyone's still hyped off the Astros title last night, but we've only had 2 fights go the distance, right? Yep, 2 fights.
Yeah, 2
Those
in
are
the amateur fights.
Yeah, in the amateurs. Everything else has just been a finish, and usually in the first or second round. That is crazy. Let's go inside the weigh to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jeff Rexroad calls for a stop to the action. 50 seconds into round number 2, declaring a winner by TKO, Gabriel Macario.
Congratulations to Gabe Macario. Moves this record to 7-7. This was a fun prelims. Congratulations to all of the winners. And now we get ready for our UFC Fight Pass broadcast for Fury FC 71, Quintana versus Richardson, 4:30 p.m. We will be on UFC Fight Pass, so if you're watching on YouTube, on our Facebook channels, get your subscriptions in if you don't have it yet, and we will see you there for a 6-fight card on UFC Fight Pass. On behalf of the entire Fury team, our production team, for Alex Morono and Michael Alexander, I'm Rahil Ramzanali. We will see you on UFC Fight Pass at 4:30 p.m.